Hello, hello. There you are. There I am, right? I love technology and sometimes I hate technology. So many of you know I have a new MacBook that apparently I haven't quite synced up to be able to use the camera on Facebook. So I had to quickly get over to my other computer, my laptop. So yes, so welcome to the Joyful Business Live Show. This is episode number 4. So glad you are here. I hear some people joining. Thank you for sticking it out. I seem to have, we're going to have to I'm going to sage this show around the technology so that it just starts working seamlessly and easily. So many of you know I have a MacBook and apparently it's not synced with the camera with Facebook. And so I had to quickly get my laptop going, which is like getting a bunch of hamsters to start working together. So it takes forever. Welcome to our show today. Today I'm going to be talking about cultivating joy, even with your technology. No matter what's going on in your life, in your business, in the world, and how this really is the key to your success. And don't worry, for those of you who might be rolling your eyes and saying, you can't always be joyful. It's not about always being joyful. So we're going to talk about that. So hello to those of you who have joined. Katina, Francis, Pat, so glad to have you here. When you hear something that you love, please send me some little love signs, especially the fact that I actually got on here. I was successful at this. Send me some likes, some loves, any comments that you like, definitely put them in the chat or show me some love. So we just love the love. All right. I am Laura West. I am the founder of Joyful Business. Joyful Business is my all-time passion project. It's almost a 20-year passion project, probably beyond that, before I knew it was called that. And I'm really on a mission to help us reconnect, rediscover, or maybe discover for the first time in a long time your joy and how to bring that into your life, how to bring that into your business. So I'm hosting these Friday afternoon shows. It's twice a month on Fridays. And the next show is going to be on August 30th at the same time. So if you can join us on August 30th, I'd love to have you here as well. So welcome everyone who's joining. So yeah, as I said, I am on a mission. I'm amping up my mission for, yes, Roz, you didn't finally find me. I actually finally got my computer hooked up. So glad you are here. So yes, I am passionate about joy. I am passionate about joyful business. I love business. I love being able to put our passion into the world, our gifts into the world, be able to help other people and make money at it. And yeah, and so I love the practical pieces of it, but I'm super passionate about the energetics of it. How do you line your energy up with those actions that you want to take so that they actually work? Well, first of all, so that you actually do them, because if you're lined up with your joy, you're more likely to do them. And then there is such thing as an attraction factor. We all know that when we see somebody walk through a restaurant or we meet somebody who's just exuding their passion, their joy, they are so glad to be in this world that's very attractive. We want to be around those people. They're very, very inspiring. And so we want to be those people. And there's sometimes work to do, right? We don't always get out of bed, jumping up, ready to go and be able to maintain a constant stream of joy. So we need to cultivate that. And that's what we're going to talk about today. A great place to start with your joy is, especially joyful business, is to really think about, what is your big why? What is, why are you in this business? Why are you putting it into this form? What is it that brings you joy in your business? Is it the meaningful work that you do that changes lives? Is it because it's really fun? Is it that you are on a mission to help others? I know for me, it's a combination of those. Do you want to make Is your big why to make money so that you can, doing work that you love so that you can then fund a life that you love? Most of us are yeses to all of those, right? Some form of all of those. Welcome, everyone who's joining us. Just a reminder, when you hear me say something you love and brings joy, that really resonates, please hit some likes, some loves, some hearts, and put them in the comments. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it because then I see the things that that's really resonating with you. And then of course, Facebook loves the joy, the joy, loves the likes and the hearts and things like that in the comments. And it's really helpful to other people because they can browse the comments and see the kinds of things that we're talking about that resonate. So it's helpful all the way around. So today I'm going to share 25 ways to cultivate your joy. First, I want to address a couple of things before I get into my my massive download of joyful things to do. I'm not saying that you want to put on faux joy and just plaster, the fake smiley face across, over your life, put a big smiley face Band-Aid over your business. It's not, there's a way to have authentic joy, right? And there's a way to access that on a daily basis, even moment by moment basis. But it requires you to be conscious about it, to commit to it, and be willing to take responsibility for your inner mindset. Yes, Roz says she's found that the passion, the joy brings me more, it's more important than the money. And I think for most of us here, that is so true, that whenever I've done studies and in my conversations and surveys, and I have asked people over the years, why are you in business? And the top, money doesn't appear in the top in this community. Usually it's about 5 or 6 after meaningful work, passion, freedom, flexibility, helping people, and then the money comes. So it's not that money's not important. I know, I want to pay my bills. I want to be able to fund whatever workshops I want to go to. I want to be able to travel when I want to. But the money supports my joy and passion, and the joy and the passion support the money, right? It's like a infinity loop that we go on. So it's really important for you to think about that. What is it that brings you joy in your business? So that's a place to start, to connect with. Here's why I'm getting up in the morning. This is why this is my business of choice. This is why I don't go to a job at somebody else's office. This is why I am doing this adventure of having my own business. And it's, yes, you want to take a look at that. The second thing I want to say before we get into our Cultivating Joy list is I'm also really passionate, really committed to helping create awareness and educate about emotional fluency and good emotional hygiene, right? Kind of like brushing your teeth every day and brushing your hair, scrubbing your face, or taking your makeup the night before, hopefully. Putting on your moisturizer, right? We have those hygiene routines that we do. You can have emotional hygiene, which is, this goes back to not just doing the faux happy face. This is about being able to recognize and acknowledge and express your emotions, your full range of emotions in all, in different healthy ways. So in fact, the more that you practice with your emotions, the more free you're going to feel, the less triggered you're going to get, the less stuck you're going to get by these emotions. I work with my clients on all different levels of their emotions. I actually have a chart. It's like 21 tiers of emotions, TIERS. So there's 3 levels to those tiers. There's the bottom level of constricting emotions, which is everything from hopelessness, despair, to resentment, to grief. Those tend to be the constricting ones. Not bad. Notice I didn't say they were bad. I just said they're emotions that tend to constrict our energy in. Then there is a transition tier of transitioning emotions from anger and doubt, worry, anxiety, even up to contentment, right? Those tend to be transitioning, where you're transitioning from some lower emotions up to higher emotions. But what's great about transitioning emotions, even like anger, is that you're moving, right? Things are moving. You're not stuck. The toughest one is despair. When you're in that deep, deep despair or sadness, it's hard, it does take more energy and focus to move from that. When you're in something like even anger or doubt or worry, there is movement, right? And then you go up to the upper tier, which are the expansive emotions of optimism and passion and joy, up to joy and love. We love those emotions, right? But it's really fascinating because there are a lot of people who are, for me, joy is an easier emotion, but I do have my ceiling, which is really where all this was birthed from, I was realizing I had a ceiling to my joy. I can't show too much excitement, too much passion. I'm going to be over the top, right? And then I couldn't go too far down on the emotional ladder. I couldn't really get angry or mad or be super sad or be really teary and emotional with the sadness. So that left me like this really small range, actually, of kind of joy to kind of sharing my emotions. And that really started me on this whole journey of back in the 90s of exploring emotions and law of attraction and taking responsibility for how you show up in the world. That's where that started. Then when I left corporate, was, we had went through 6 buyouts and mergers in 5 years. Plus my husband at the time had went through some buyouts and mergers. So, it was probably like 8 different experiences I went through within a span of 6-7 years. And I was really burned out, lost my passion. Also I had little kids and I was looking for a way to do a business where I didn't have to travel quite so much and had a lot more flexibility. And that's where I started becoming fascinated with coaching, became a certified coach. And trying to remember why I was telling you that. So that's actually how my company was born, the Center for Joyful Business. I actually found an article by Barbara Fredrickson. It was just an article at the time. Now she's written books and done all sorts of research programs. But she did have this first research program at Duke University, and it was about happiness in the workplace. And it showed that when people were happy, when they were in their joy at the work that they do, they were more creative, right? They came up with more creative ideas. They were more innovative, like willing to take risk and look outside of the norm, the non-traditional. They were more confident, which I think this is a huge one for us, that when you're in your joy, you are more confident, right? So to me, that's like the success equation. When you feel good, you're going to do good. So when you feel good and you're more in your joy, then you're more likely to pick up the phone. You're more likely to fill out that RFP to speak at somebody's event. When you're feeling in your joy, we all know how we get that rush of ideas and excitement, and we can't wait to mind map those ideas and things like that. We get excited about going to networking meetings when we're feeling joyful and confident and passionate, as opposed to some of the constricting emotions, right? Yeah, thank you for the likes and the hearts there. I appreciate that. And so we don't have to leave it to circumstance. And that's the big thing I want you to take away from here. And I know a lot of you who are on here, I know you, and I know that you know this, right? I've been steeped in this for 25 plus years, and I still forget, right? I still forget that I have a choice, and that I can feel my emotions, and in feeling my emotions, it will take the lock off of, if I'm feeling constricted or in those transition emotions, it'll actually start the movement happening. And from there, I can work my way up to the more expansive emotions of optimism and hope and passion, enthusiasm, and joy and love. But it takes a commitment, right? It takes a commitment to be willing to learn. Now, again, don't confuse this with, I'm not saying that, okay, you need to have responsibility and you need to be you need to be joyful every moment. What I'm saying is take responsibility for your emotions So you can practice that emotional fluency, good emotional hygiene, feel your feelings, whether it's through journaling or some way to express that, or a conversation or working with a coach, so that you can know how to then move through it, so that you then can get to really authentic, expansive emotions. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm talking about with that. And I just really want to reiterate that those constricting emotions, they are not bad. We were given access to these emotions like within us as human beings for a reason. They are a gauge, right? They're telling us when something is out of alignment. Something is out of alignment in our life. I just read this very long article about anger, and it was in Atlantic Monthly magazine, and which sounds really intelligent. It's not the usual thing that I read, but somebody had posted it, and I'm fascinated by emotions. And so I read this article, and it talked about the history of anger and how anger, there was all sorts of things that it talked about anger in America, but it specifically talked about how anger can be used for movement. Anger, it can be used to shift things. So those bottom tier emotions are really important. In fact, this month, I did a training class called Grief, Forgiveness, and Success. That was in the Joyful Business Studio, which is my monthly membership program. And incredibly, incredibly powerful class. The people who showed up they knew intuitively this was a good topic that we needed to address, and they were excited about it, but they were also nervous, thinking they're going to like cry the whole class. They were going to be deep in their grief and be crying the whole class. And it wasn't like that at all. There was really true felt emotion, but everybody left feeling incredibly optimistic and powerful because they actually touched that grief. And what we were doing is touching that grief in their business, unrealized dreams, unacknowledged successes, things that didn't work out where you were really disappointed. So these really deep disappointments. All of that holds us hostage when we don't acknowledge that. And so it was incredibly powerful, the tools that I shared, the process to go through. If this is something that really resonates with you, you certainly can join us over at the studio. I'll take a little teeny break here to do a plug. You can go to joyfulbusinessstudio.com to check it out. It's a highly affordable $97 a month program where you get a training every month around growing your joyful business, and then also a group coaching opportunity, plus this amazing, amazing community. Everybody always talks about like the cool people that I attract, like you guys who are here already. So yes, join us, because I like to bring something very practical with something with the joy energy. So we'll talk about planning and joy and list building and being authentic and things like that. So it's if you've been frustrated or fed up with traditional types of marketing, then this is something you might want to check out. All right. I'm just going to check here. I appreciate you making comments. I really love that. I'm just going to check in here. Yeah, Roz says she's been going through a particularly low period for no real reason. And she doesn't stay there as long as she used to. Absolutely. The more you practice this emotional hygiene, the more you'll be really authentic, be able to connect with your real emotions and not just find substitutes, like eating the chips or drinking too much or sleeping too much or just procrastinating or taking, there's healthy naps and then there's naps to avoid, or hiding out and things like that. Which we all have our share of. But the more you practice this emotional hygiene, then the more access you're going to have to your joy. And we do have those low periods. I've had a couple of weeks of that. I've had a lot of things going on. My mom had hip surgery. We were packing up my son to go to college, and then we took him to college this week, which were huge ups and downs in the emotional range, right? I was excited for my mom and her hip surgery, and it was really stressful. I'm excited about my son, and I was sad. So there's multiple emotional journeys going on at the same time. And of course, most of you who are here in this group are highly sensitive. You're very empathic, highly intuitive. So you're really in tune with all the energies going on in the world. And, you know, that has an impact, right? This is why that emotional hygiene, practicing on a daily basis, is incredibly important. When I really started committing to this a few years ago, I started realizing that lots of times when I was taking a big dip, would seem like for no reason in my life that I could figure out, it was not mine. There was something going on in the house, or there was something going on in the larger world, and I was tapping into that. And that was hugely freeing for me. And so for me, it's remembering to tap into, is this mine, or is this somebody else's, or is this global? That was incredibly powerful to help me shift. That feels like that's part of my emotional hygiene routines. It just sounds so funny. I have to laugh. Emotional hygiene routines. It just sounds so technical, and yet it's incredibly powerful. All right, let's see where we are here. Let me just check. I'm going to take a little sip of water. While I do that, I'd love for you to put any comments that you have about what we're talking about here. If there's something that really resonated, something that was a big aha for you, I'd love for you to post that, or just give me some likes and hearts. If this is new for you, you know, let me know that too, because I like to know if there are some things. I got some laughter. Okay, laughter and joy is good. I'm going to take those as little joyful laughters. We love that. All right. So what we're going to do now, we've talked a little bit about, you know, connecting to your bigger why. Make sure you connect to that in your business. I find I have to connect to that a lot, because sometimes we're doing things like the technology that wasn't working at the very beginning, you know, or things are harder, they're challenging. And, you know, that's why you want to dig into that bigger why. All right, so let's talk about, I'm going to share with you 25 ways to cultivate your joy, okay? And this is, what I want to ask you to do is, hold on, I'm just looking for my list. I am just having a day. Oh, sorry, I've got my list. I had 1 through 17, and I forgot I'm printing on both sides of the paper, so it's on the back. I'm searching for the rest of my list. What I'd love for you to do is get your pen out, your paper, your markers, and I want you to write down the ones that really resonate for you, okay? You may capture all 25, you may not. I'll probably put these out in an email at some point too, so make sure you're on my list over at joyfulbusiness.com. But I want you to specifically look for what are ones that really like call to you, okay? Some of them are good ideas, some of them are gonna really call to you. And I want you to create a joy menu, okay? What I get from my, my clients to do, my private clients, is just to get like an index card, and it's their joy menu. And they write down the things that they know that they can do, their go-to joy shifters, and so that they can post that. So then when you get into a funk, you're feeling low energy, or you're feeling really crazy, irritable, or angry for some reason, you can't quite figure out why, you can go to your joy menu, and you can then choose, how do you want to shift your energy? What I find happens is, I study this, I read all the books, I know this, I do this with my clients, and then I get into a funk, and then I forget that, oh, I can be at choice, and I can shift my energy. And I forget the very things to do sometimes. Doesn't happen quite as much now, but certainly as I was studying this, and there are times where it still happens, you know, where I'm wallowing in something, or I'm reaching for the chips and wondering, why am I doing this? Wait a minute, I have a choice. I could do something from my joy menu. So I encourage you each to make your joy menu. And I'd love for you to post on here, what are your top ways of the things that we're talking about? What are your top ways to get into your joy? Okay, so let me just check in the time. Yeah, we're going to go through these fairly fast, all right? This is like 25 ways to shift your joy in 25 minutes. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, number 1, and they're not in a particular order. They're really in the order that I thought them up. Number one is nature, getting out in nature. I was just listening to a podcast the other day while I was walking in the woods by the river here in Atlanta, the Chattahoochee, and it was talking about the power of nature. And it's why we hear so many programs for the inner city children and people who live in the city who are, why it's so important is that they get out into nature in some way. So finding a way to get into nature is a great way to get you into your joy and to get you really relaxed and connected. A lot of what we're talking about today is going to be about how do you create connection versus how do you choose connection versus choosing isolation. All right. And let me know which ones you like on here. So I love to hear, I just love feedback. I like interactions. So I really appreciate that. All right. Number two is related, but it's plants. I was listening to another podcast, and it was the Live Happy podcast by the folks who used to bring us the Live Happy magazine. And they had an expert on there about the power of plants. And it was actually a woman in New York City who was in a really small apartment and had 1,200 different species of plants. Not different species, but like 750 different species, but 1,100 different plants. Talking about the power that plants, we know they clean our air and things like that, but they actually will shift the energy that's going on inside us. So I find that one of the things I love to do is related to this is to go to a greenhouse or go to a Pike's nursery or something like that, where you can be with the plants. And that gives me so much joy. And then picking out one or two plants to bring to my deck. And what I've realized is I haven't really populated my home with plants. So another option. Number three is you could do a joy flow rampage, right? I love talking about joy flow. Joy flow is, it's looking for where joy is flowing. Joy is flowing in your life. Joy is flowing in your business. Those of you who are on here, my clients, I'm always asking first about the joy flow because we have a choice. We can look for evidence that things are not working. There goes one more technology thing, that's not happening. There goes one more, client that you didn't get. Or we could choose to focus on the great conversations that we overhear about abundance. You can choose to focus on, oh my God, there's a recession pending, looming, or you can focus on where's abundance and expansion. Where did you have joy today? So I always write down my hummingbird sightings. That's a big source of joy for me. Joy flow sightings can be the God winks, the synchronicities, the successes that you haven't acknowledged yet, things that have happened in your week. So a joy flow rampage is a really good one to shift and realize there's lots of goodness happening. Creative cafe time. This is what I call getting out of your house and going to a cafe and, reading something inspirational, journaling, looking at, having some Pinterest time to be inspired, doing mind maps. And I just find when I do that, and I usually put my headset on. So it's funny because I go out into the world, get out of my home office, get out into the world where there's energy going on, but I don't necessarily talk to people. I put my earbuds on and have music playing, and then I'm inspiring. There's something about all the joy that energy that is happening all around me that, I remember that things are flowing in the world. And I get the best ideas. So I usually commit to that to once or twice a week, having time to get out to creative cafe time. I don't usually go to Starbucks, a little tip, places like that are just crazy, crazy busy, unless it's a Starbucks where I can sit outside and I know that it's going to be quieter. So lots of times I go to like a bakery, cafe, Panera Bread kind of thing. Okay, 4. Number 5, this is being in your beautiful brilliance. And what I mean by that, this is like a whole class that I lead, your beautiful brilliance. This is taking time to remember all of the experience you have, the wisdom, the challenges you've gone through, what you have learned, your strengths, your quirky personality quirks, all of the things that make you uniquely you, and spending some time journaling or mind mapping about that. That's actually part of the Joyful Business Plan, this business plan that I offer. We talk about your beautiful brilliance in there because it's so incredibly important to how you show up authentically in your business. Number 6, move your body. This is huge, huge, especially those of you who have computer-oriented businesses where you're sitting a lot all day, or you're doing a lot of coaching, or you're on the phone all day. You've got to find ways to move your body. So if it's dancing, yoga, going out to a class, doing that river walk, stretching, I just find I'm constantly having to move my body because I spend way too much time on the computer and on coaching, and I love that, but it's like I've got to keep my body in tune as well. And that will help you shift your energy and bring you more connected to your body. So again, we're talking about connection versus isolation. So connecting to your body by moving your body will shift your energy versus ignoring your body and choosing things that are just going to kind of pacify the emotions. All right, number 7 is call a lifeline. That is call a friend. All right, and I'm looking here. Yeah, Brenda, she's going to go to a garden. She loves the Joy Flow Rampage, the Creative Cafe time. She's been going once a week. Yay, you. Good. Yeah, please post. I love seeing which ones really resonate with you guys. So number 7, call a lifeline, call a friend. You don't have to be in a funk all by yourself. I have kind of a network of friends that I can call or text and say, hey, I'm in a funk, can I chat for a few minutes? Or they know they can call me and we will listen, do that emotional hygiene thing, really be present for them. And usually you start feeling better if you could just start getting it out, or getting a different perspective, or just getting a confirmation. Same thing goes for when something really exciting happens. Having friends that you can call and celebrate with and say, oh my God, I just got a $10,000 client, or I just made $50, or whatever it is, or I just got accepted to speak. Those are really big things. And if you don't celebrate, then they go in the unacknowledged celebration category. And again, you're stifling the emotion, you're stifling your joy. So it's hard to expand your joy range, your emotional joy range, if you keep stifling your joy in that way. So have some safe sisters and brothers that you can go to, and you can actually celebrate full out. We always do that in the Joyful Business Studio. We encourage people actually to celebrate full out, because it always makes all of us feel good. Number 8 is hire a coach. If you love the idea of adding more joy into your business, and you're not liking just all the traditional how-tos of marketing, and you want to really immerse this not only in your life but also in your business, because I find a lot of people will do the joy work or the attraction work in their life, but they forget to do it in their business. Hire a coach, join one of my programs or somebody else's program that brings this joy factor in. Number 9 is, so number 8 was hire a coach. Number 9 is join a program. And the reason I broke that off separately is because with a program, you get community. So like in the Joyful Business Studio, for example, or other communities that you might be a part of, you realize you're not alone. You hear people who are going through tough times, and you realize, okay, you're not alone in doing that. You see people who are having successes, and you start realizing what is possible. I think being an entrepreneur can be an awfully lonely journey, and most of us get into being an entrepreneur because we want that joy, right? We want that joy in meaningful work because we love what we do. We want that passion. But if you're not careful, it'll start eroding away. And one day you'll wake up and you'll be like, oh my God, I just have all this stuff to do and I've lost my joy. So one way of doing that is making sure you have places to plug into and people to plug into it. Okay, number 10 is to paint. You can paint something on purpose or with no purpose. I love to do painting for no purpose because I'm not very good at purposeful painting, but I love just intuitive painting, free flow painting. You can do that with markers, with crayons, with chalks. But there's something about, particularly around painting, that there's a flow that I find when I get the paintbrush flowing. The flow of my physical movement starts creating more flow in my body. And I just, especially when I'm just put on some music, meditative music or whatever, speaks to me in the moment, and then I'm just kind of painting layers, then it's like, and I don't care. And that's why I'm so passionate about intuitive painting or collage painting, because it's so freeing, and that you're not having to create something purposeful. You can just be free. And our mind needs us to be free. And once you start unhooking and find that place to be free in your mind, then the joy can start, it can find a place to take hold. All right. Melinda says, I'm going to Michael's or Joanne's, and she's going to be in the midst of the creativity. It's so joyful and soothing. Brenda, of course, is like a huge painter. Yes, actually, free flow. I love that. Love that. You can have number 11 is a hobby. So giving yourself permission to do your hobby. A lot of us have hobbies, but if we really check in, it's like we haven't done it in a while. I know Melinda here she does these amazing, cute little birds that she draws, and they have these fun conversations, and she puts them on greeting cards and things like that. And such a cool hobby, and she has like a journal full of these. Brenda has tons of creative outlets in that way. I know one of my clients, Ken, plays the guitar, and we created this morning ritual where there were different steps to his morning ritual to line his energy. And part of that, right before he starts coaching clients, is to strum on his guitar for a little bit. And that just puts him in a real meditative state, getting him really super present. Do what I like to call a joy junk journal. And a joy junk journal, these are so much fun. I just take a regular composition book, which are all on sale now at back to school time, and then you just start cutting out of magazines, your mail, napkins, whatever at a restaurant. You just start looking for things that make you feel good and make you feel inspired. It might be the wrapper off of a Milky Way or something, that it's like, oh, I love the idea of the Milky Way and, being up in outer space and all of that. And you just love the words Milky Way. It could be something you see on direct mail. There's so many pictures and phrases and words and colors that are in magazines. And then you just get a glue, you cut them out and you have this big pile. And I keep adding till I have a basket, and I just throw stuff in there that makes me feel good, makes me smile. And then I'll sit down while I'm watching TV at night, and I'll just start cutting and pasting and just doing a junk journal of stuff that makes me happy to look at. So I'm not necessarily trying to create something. It really is like page after page of collage of all sorts of things that make Laura smile. Words, phrases, colors, maybe, cool furniture, certainly island vista, prints, things like that. All sorts of things like that. So a joy junk journal, everybody can do. I've actually taught that program at one point, and I had a therapist who took it and used it with one of her teenage patients and had a remarkable, remarkable breakthrough. This girl got so excited, loved the freedom of this, of being able to claim her joy in all these different ways, and soon started opening back up to the therapist and to her mom, and just amazing, amazing. So it's very healing and cathartic as well. Number 13, spend some time with your pet. I know I have Lucky Kitty. She just can't wait for me to sit down in the evening when I'm going to watch something. She kind of gets in the way of my joy junk journal, but she's used to it. So, petting your dog, petting a cat, borrowing somebody's, just to spend some time. I know when I'm walking the river, sometimes I'll just stop and pet somebody's dog because there's a million dog walkers who were there. And, studies have shown that the more you spend time being with a pet and petting them, your hearts get in resonance with each other, and you really do get into that relaxed state. So I see some hearts. I wouldn't doubt that any of you are saying that, but it's probably Melinda. I know, a big, huge dog fan. But you really do get in resonance with, with pets in that way. That's why, we hear so much about rescue dogs and rescue pets, rescue pigs, all sorts of things that we're hearing about these days, and how incredibly powerful it is for people with traumatic brain injuries, or people, veterans, things like that. Let me see. Brenda loves the joy collage. Roz loves the idea of the joy junk journal. Yeah, it's so fun and freeing. Number 14 is co-working. I highly recommend co-working, seeing if you can find a co-working space or creating your own co-working opportunity. It's kind of like the creative cafe time. You can, co-working can look like, you're having conversations, or it can look like you each put your earbuds on, you're listening to your own music, but you're getting some work done. I have joined co-working spaces probably for the last 15 years, been a member of different places as they kind of pop up. 2 places that I go to now are women only, and I really like those as well. Although there's another one that I go to called Rome that, they have creative surroundings, and it's just, again, a great way to get out of your space and into a different space and around other people. And that being around other people, whenever you read any studies about happiness and, what are the top ways that you can be happier or have a happy life, being with people, having strong connections is always, right up there on the top. I know as an introvert and as a person who just loves to create on her own, it's really easy for me to get a lot of alone time. And somebody who lives alone, now my last son's gone to college, and just this week, and I'm very aware of purposely looking for opportunities to get out to a co-working space and doing the creative cafe time. I think it's incredibly important so that you don't start isolating, or for me, I don't start isolating, but for all of us, we don't isolate, that we actually choose connection. Melinda loves horses. Melinda dogs. Brenda horses. Melinda loves the junk journal. That's a new idea for her. She's going to try that. Well, good. You can maybe even find some fun stickers or washi tape. I love to put washi tape around some of the pages in the junk journal. So when you go to Michael's, you can pick up some of those. All right, number 15, mind mapping. I love mind mapping. I was trying to see if I had one handy, but I'd have to dig under some papers. Mind mapping is so freeing. Mind mapping is I just use it in a really simplistic idea, but it's putting an idea, and I love to do this when I go out to creative cafe time or go to a co-working space where I can just be free. And I love to use large oversized paper, or at least plain paper. So I often will bring copy paper. I also, here's a little tidbit, when I go someplace like Chick-fil-A, we're really big on Chick-fil-A here in Atlanta, and sometimes I'll go there for breakfast just to get out and do a little creative cafe time. They have the tray liners, on the trays that you carry to your table, and I will ask them for extra tray liners, because they're really nice, oversized, I don't even know what they are, 11 by 12 kind of type of paper. Those are great to mind map on. And mind mapping is where you put an idea in the center, and I love to use markers because they flow, or your favorite pens. Put an idea in the center, like an article you're going to write, or a program that you want to brainstorm around. This program or what I'm delivering today, this content, I do a lot of mind maps for content. And so this started out as cultivating joy, cultivating your joy in the center, and then you just draw lines out with another circle, and you put your ideas, and you just keep adding them all around. It's just a giant brainstorming sheet. This is different than writing a list, because a list, you start chronologically doing a list. It kind of turns into a to-do list. It kind of brings you to wanting to put order on it. Whereas a mind map, there's no order. It really is just free-form brainstorming. Then you can come back, and then I come back and I put my things. I don't know if you can see that. You can't actually see that, but then I put them into here's my 25 things, right, and the order of it. But I find I get so much more done when I can do free flow mind mapping. I also have a program where I do mind mapping on the computer. I just absolutely love it. I used to do it years ago, and I've just come back to it. And this one is called, I don't even know how you say it. It's called Oya, I think it is. Yeah, AYOA and .com, and you can do mind mapping super quick on the computer. And I have done several. I do my Joyful Business Studio outlines on there, and then it's pretty new, but they're going to be taking that technology so you can export it into Word, but it's going to get even better so that you can export. Actually, you can export it to a PDF right now. You're going to be able to export it into Word, which I can't wait, because then I can just quickly mind map a topic, and then boom, you can put it right into Word and finish up your article. So I'm excited about that. Number 16 is a creative adventure day. And that's where you take a day and you just do something that is fun and creative for you. It used to be when I was in corporate, I would do a creative adventure hour. So my lunch hour, I would go to a Barnes and Noble and just explore the books and the magazines. That really makes me feel good. Like Melinda's talking about going to Michael's and Joann's. That's like a, creative adventure date. You don't always have to take all day. I am looking to put on the calendar going to Serenbe, which is a retreat farm community, intentional community that's down past the airport in Atlanta, about an hour away. And they have a labyrinth, and then they have a cool little place to eat there. And so that's one of my creative adventure days that I have coming up. It could be going to a shop, antique shop. It could be going out to a waterfall. Something just, again, to get you out of your regular routine. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with somebody else. But to me, purposely doing those frequently, it changes your mindset, right? It changes your energy. You're exposed to different things. Whenever you go to different stores, or you just see different things that are happening in the world, and it reminds you. And usually I get really connected and get really inspired, and lots of times get lots of good ideas as well. So creative adventure days or dates. What was the free flow again, says Roz. Was that the mind map one I think you're referring to? Doing a mind map, number 15. 16 is the creative adventure date. And then 17 is to go away for a weekend. Take a weekend and go, if you could borrow a friend's cabin, a friend's basement that in a cool place, rent a little Airbnb somewhere that's different. I went to a shamanic drumming weekend here in Atlanta, but it was about 25 minutes out. It was further out in the suburbs. And it was at this cool, converted house that was made into a retreat center. And you could rent, there was like a 1-bedroom cottage attached to it, and you could rent that. And it was right on a lake. And I was so moved to tears, I don't know, looking at the lake and all the flowers, and this place was so beautiful, rich woods and things like that, that it's on my list that I just want to go stay overnight in that cottage and just be in this beautiful, it's really a magical environment. I've gone down to Serenbe, that place I was talking about, the farm community that has the labyrinth, just to kind of shift things up. Again, they're joy shifters, right? Go away for the weekend. Okay, number 18, essential oils. Those of you who are on the last episode of the Joyful Business live show, I had the amazing Michelle Eisenberg, and we talked about the 10 top challenges for entrepreneurs and the essential oils that will help shift things for you. I'm trying to see if I had my, I have my forgiveness oil here. I've talked about the forgiveness oil on the essential oil show we did. I've talked about it on the grief, forgiveness, and success program. But essential oils can help you reconnect really quickly to different emotions and different energies. I love this forgiveness oil. I'm just going to put a little bit on. And I have a daily ritual where I put a little on. And there's something about it, just totally activates my heart. And then I do a little forgiveness scan where I look at my day and say, what do I need to forgive myself for? Like right now, I'm very top of mind is forgiving myself for not checking that my Mac camera was connected to Facebook, and spending 8 minutes, figuring that out and having people, some of you wondering where I was at and if you were doing something wrong. And, forgiving myself for yet another technology thing. That I don't need to hold on to that energy. I can let it go. So that's a forgiveness whole ritual that I teach. Essential oils are so good to uplift your mood, have you feel more focused. There's so many ways you can shift your energy with oils. And what I have learned about oils is that the power of your smell is the quickest sense to actually get to kind of the root of your brain, and really works really fast. So a scent is something that you can do a diffuser with scents in your office, and that can help shift your energy as well. And the key is remembering to do this, right? Because I know a lot of you use essential oils, a lot of you might have some or dabble in them, but I know for me, it's to remember to use them. And that's the biggest thing I learned from essential oils, is that I would have them, and if I got a little headache, I would, sniff the peppermint past tense thing one time, but I would forget, like, oh, you need to do it several times an hour, or you need to put it by your desk, actually create a ritual and a routine out of it. All right. Number 19. Drink water. Water, water, water. Water is so good as an energy shifter. Taking that pause helps you get present. Obviously, hydrating. We can get headaches when we're dehydrated. I think water is one of the fastest ways as well to really shift your energy. And, I always kind of visualize as I'm drinking water that I can feel the flow moving through my body. I know it doesn't always happen like that, although sometimes it feels like that as soon as you drink and you have to go to the bathroom. But anyways, but it's all about getting into the flow, right? Okay, number 20 is music. Great energy shifter. I have different playlists. Some of you heard me say that. I have different playlists for different reasons. So I have a Riverwalk playlist that is a little more energized. I have a chant playlist that is for when I'm sitting down. It's like I'm training I've trained my brain, because I've had the same chant list for probably 10 years. That it's my go-to chant, and I put it on, and then I'm in writing mode. Or music that, just sometimes it's Sam Smith, and sometimes it's the 80s, and sometimes it's, Michael Franti and, more sunshiny music. Great energy shifter. Number 21 is lights. I love my fairy lights. They make me feel so good. Even when I don't have Zoom webinars going on or Facebook Lives, I turn on my fairy lights because they make me feel good. So I have a salt lamp light. I'm a huge light fan. So my parents, their house is really dark. As soon as I go in, I'm flipping on all the lights. When they come to my house, they're just like, oh my God, the electricity bill. But I just love lights. It makes me feel good. I even have a happy light by my bed that I turn on a lot in the winter, in the morning when I'm just getting awake and it's a little bit dimmer light. So happy lights. Yeah, if any of these are resonating, keep posting, please, and let me know. Number 23, we're getting close to the end. 23 is massage. The power of touch is incredibly important. I just joined this place called Hand and Stone Massage, and I had a massage a month ago, and I joined their monthly program so that I can get a massage every month. Not only is it really good for your self-care, but just working out the muscles, working out the kinks, especially when you're on the computer all the time, as I know many of you are, or if you're stressed out and anxious, that is a way to start moving all this through your body, and getting regular body care is a really good idea. I would include with massage, energy work, Reiki work, chiropractor. I do all of those things. Network chiropractor is my favorite thing to do. I would do all those. Number 24, and this is a fun project that I used to teach as well. And it's doing an iPhone project. It's like iPhoneography. And pick a day, and you're going to take pictures with your iPhone or whatever phone you have of all things that are red. And I tell you, it will just shift your energy. You will start finding red in the most interesting places. You know, there's a red car when you go in the parking lot, and then somebody's wearing a red blouse, or you see a red sticker, or I have this really cool picture of in our garage. We had this old oil gas can that was red and gold stripe on it, and it's the coolest picture. And I never really noticed it before, but it helps you take your focus off yourself and start bringing it out. So that's really fun. Another way to do that project, you can pick any color, it doesn't have to be red. You can pick a color for the day, or you could do joy spotting. And I've done this where I take pictures of things that bring me joy. So pictures of the hummingbird, pictures of a flower, pictures of a color car, pictures of my son eating a cupcake, or whatever it is, or the cupcake. And then you just have this whole little portfolio of things that bring you joy, and that is so fun. It's another way of doing like a gratitude list, but doing it with photos. Really super fun, easy project to shift your energy. And number 25, which some of you will like, some of you won't like, but clean something. And so lots of times the energy to get cleaning is not always so joyful, but I find when I clean something, even if it's a drawer or I clean off my desk, it just lightens the load. It frees the chi. It just makes me feel good. I always feel like this fresh, renewed sense of energy. If I'm feeling really stuck and bound up and I can't figure out why I'm not moving forward, a lot of times it's because the clutter in my office has gotten too much and I just need to clean something and organize something. So, oh my gosh, 25 different ways to cultivate your joy. Those are really good. Those are really powerful. I love talking about them. The key here is have your own list, right? Have your joy menu handy, because when you get in the funk, get popped out of your joy, it's hard to remember. So you want to have that posted somewhere where you can go to it and say, okay, here's something I can do. The other thing is you want to choose it, right? You've got to be intentional about it and managing your energy. The other piece that we talked about is don't be afraid to acknowledge your emotions. You can't jump from a lower tier to joy, just like that. It's going to take a few steps, and it's going to take you usually acknowledging where you really are and what's really going on, if it's yours, if it's somebody else's, and then you can diffuse your oil or go out to a cafe or go for a walk and do your thing, and that will help you tremendously. And that will help everything in your business. When you start committing to these tools, and it's really like a personal system, and it will start shifting your energy in your business and help you be more successful. Doing these intentionally to kind of ramp up your energy and connect will help make writing that article easier, getting the confidence to do that Facebook Live video, outlining that new program, that new project. It will make all of this stuff easier. And again, you're going to get into that confidence, creativity place, which is where, all things are possible. So I could talk about this forever because I obviously love to do that. So thank you so much for all you who joined, and for all of you who are listening afterwards. Please put comments down below. I'd love to hear in our Facebook community, what are these resonating for you? And until next time, I will see you at the next Joyful Business live show. All right, thanks everybody. Bye. Thank you for the hearts.